Go! Go! Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. What you want?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Drew Grimaldi podcast. We're doing a Sunday show again. We do Sunday shows when we got a lot to cover for the week, and we got a lot to cover. So let's get started. Let's get into this here. So we had the March for Life, the Right to Life walk, and this is awesome. But it is J.D. Vance giving a speech there. And actually, President Trump was the first president to ever go to one of these. But here is our future
administration
president.
is proud to announce a historic expansion of the Mexico City policy. We're going to start blocking every international GO that performs or promotes abortion abroad from receiving $1 of U.S. money. Now, we're expanding this policy to protect life, to combat DEI, and the radical gender ideologies that prey on our children. And with these additions, the rule will now cover every non-military foreign assistance that America sends. All in all, we have expanded the Mexico City policy about 3 times as big as it was before, and we're proud of it because we believe in fighting for life. And a lot of you may know that under the Biden administration, they use Medicaid and other programs to launder your tax dollars into abortion money all over the United States of America.
And so the gist of that one is that no foreign NGO is going to be able to use their foreign funds to promote abortion here in the States. Beautiful thing. Get the foreign bullshit out of our country because we know how fucked up they are, especially when it comes to like Europe, for example. Europe is a mess. Their leaders are even worse. These people are nuts. They have nothing in common with us. But we continue. Another person was killed by ICE. This person pulled a 9mm pistol and he died. So, of course, Minnesotans got out there and they've just been protesting like crazy on this one. But here is the video of that killing.
Too much, man, and they keep pushing people, you know? Oh shit! What the fuck? They killed him? Did they fucking kill that guy? Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Not again! Are you fucking kidding me? That guy's dead. Yo, we need people on site. They doing too much.
So the fact of the matter is that you have Governor Tim Walz and Frey, the mayor, and they have just been promoting violence, and they're saying, get out there, get in ICE's face. And Tim Walz, and I played this, but he actually had this thing where he called what ICE is doing, he called them atrocities. ICE is removing rapists, pedophiles, and criminals that shouldn't be here. Violent, bad guys. ICE is getting them out of our country. And the Democrats are saying that they're like Donald Trump's Gestapo. Now, there were riots and protests all last night because of this bullshit. But the fact of the matter is, you pull a gun on it, you're gonna get popped back. But here is the protesters just doing their thing, getting blasted themselves by different things.
now. There is a few that they did get it Okay. I did see finally see a grenade. So.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Liaisons just walking away. Back up. The liaisons are just walking out. They're pushing up.
You got my back. I'm good.
Well, and I'm watching back. I'm just trying to make sure an arm.
I got it this way.
So good.
There goes another one.
Again, we need to see the orange. We need to see the red.
I see it.
It's gonna hit hard. It's concentrated very much so. Very much so. It's concentrated as fuck.
We're using gas bombs to get these people the hell out of the way and back. But they don't care. These people don't care about the law. As we remember during the Summer of Love, during 2020, during the George Floyd riots. But, I mean, here's the thing. It's almost like, and Tim Walz, his wife, had said that during 2020, she opened the window because she wanted to smell the burning rubber. These people are fucking sick, and they know that they're caught with all the Somali fraud, so they're trying to make it, oh, ICE, oh, ICE. Well, do you want to know how you stay safe from ICE? You want to know how ICE is not a threat? Is that you stay the fuck home and you mind your own business. But these people don't do this. So a few years ago during 2020, they started CHAZ, which was the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Well, our friends out there in Minnesota have already started blocking off the streets in that area where the shootings have happened. Just beating things. But yeah, they're just beating the hell out of things, just destroying things. But they've created their own autonomous zone again, and here is one where people are saying ABC News should be sued for the way that they posed this story. Now, keep in mind, the guy showed up with a 9mm pistol to get law enforcement to kill ICE, but here is ABC News, this coverage
was
on
the
this.
images of a 5-year-old boy returning home from preschool, detained by ICE. Agents taking the boy and his father into custody. Vice President J.D. Vance in Minneapolis today defending ICE agents, claiming they were protecting the child, saying, what are they supposed to do? Matt Rivers in Minneapolis again tonight.
Tonight, the haunting images sparking a firestorm. A preschool boy standing in the Minnesota cold, swept up in the ICE crackdown. School officials say 5-year-old Liam, wearing his blue hat and backpack, and his father, Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias, had just pulled into their suburban Minneapolis driveway Tuesday when agents took that father into custody. The school then saying an agent essentially used the 5-year-old as bait, directing him to see if anyone else was home before taking the boy away. The district saying Liam is among 4 students recently detained.
The growing outrage in Minneapolis, the images of a 5-year-old.
Okay, so the real story behind that is that ICE showed up to get these people, to get this guy who was with his 5-year-old kid. When ICE pulled up to get the father fled, took off, leaving father of the year, fled, took off, left his 5-year-old kid. And then people are saying, oh, ICE detained him, detained this 5-year-old, used him as bait. No. When the father was getting arrested, he takes off on foot and leaves the 5-year-old. In that situation, what is law enforcement supposed to do? They're supposed to just leave the kid there for freezing the cold? That reporting was so dishonest, it makes people sick. And they're saying that ABC News should be sued for that, and I agree. Here's an ICE protester who says he bought an AR-15 to hunt down ICE agents. Check this one out. These people are getting sicker as they go. But check this out. Yeah, here, these are the people.
I'm generally a pretty liberal person, but when I saw videos of ICE jumping out of unmarked vehicles and nabbing people off the street, that's when I actually bought my first AR-15. So I'm pretty new to this, but the Second Amendment's for all of us. And now I'm seeing videos of Black Panthers out in Minneapolis, chasing down ICE and other police and stuff. I think that's what it's all about. We're facing tyranny right now, and I want to be prepared for if that stuff comes to my neighborhood.
What have you sort of thought about it? I've seen the same videos you're talking about.
What a fucking weirdo.
That you're kind of talking about. I've seen
talk about being misinformed.
Take issue when the left arms up.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, the amendments to the Constitution are for everybody. We're all American. We all have those rights, and we should all be using them. That's my opinion on it.
Sick. These people are sick.
I'm generally pretty.
But again, you can tell just by looking at their eyes that these people ain't right. You can tell a lot by looking somebody in the eyes. And a lot of these people, excuse me, are just nuts. You look them in the eyes, you can tell they're fucking weird. They're creepy. But we had Jack Smith testify this week. Jack Smith was the quote-unquote special counsel to get Trump. Now, this guy, Jack Smith, he broke all sorts of laws going after Trump to get him at all costs. And they tried to do everything to interfere in the 2024 election. So they brought him in to publicly testify about the weaponization. And Jack Smith, he got a lot more than he signed up for, I think, on this one. Check it out. But this guy deserves to be in jail.
Yes, sir, we did.
Yes, you did. And the subpoena covered the time period between November 2020 and January 2021. Is that right?
I'm sorry, sir. Could you say that again?
We're not going to delay like this. The subpoena covered the time period between November of 2020 and January 2021. How many days after Kevin McCarthy was sworn in as Speaker did you subpoena his records?
I don't recall, but those two things had nothing to do with one. It was
16 days after becoming the highest ranking Republican in the House of Representatives. You subpoenaed his toll records. Do you agree that that might reasonably be considered a violation of the speech or debate clause?
I do not, and I want to be clear that the toll records...
You were collecting months' worth of phone data on the Republican Speaker of the House, the leader of the opposition, right after he got sworn in as Speaker, all around the time of a major vote. That sounds like a flagrant violation of the speech or debate clause to me, and I think most people agree with me. And Speaker McCarthy had no recourse, did he? Because you issued a non-disclosure order ensuring that neither he nor any of the American people knew about these subpoenas. Is that right?
The toll record, the non-content toll record subpoenas, we did secure non-disclosure orders for those subpoenas.
You did, and let me ask you, Mr. Smith, at the time you secured those non-disclosure orders, was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
The non-disclosure order was based on concerns about...
Was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
He was not.
He was not. Then why did your non-disclosure order refer to him as a flight risk? It says right here, the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in flight from prosecution.
Sir, when securing a non-disclosure order, the risks don't have to be associated...
You think that the Speaker of the House is a flight risk?
The question?
No, this is not your time. This is my time. You think the Speaker of the House is a flight risk? You think he's going to hop on a plane and leave the country?
No, what I was trying to explain is with respect to a non-disclosure order, the risks aren't necessarily associated with the subscriber to the phone. the risks to the investigation.
I think that you were using, this was clearly in reference to Speaker McCarthy, and you were using clearly false information to secure a non-disclosure order to hide from Speaker McCarthy and from the American people the fact that you were spying on his toll records. But I've got more, so let's move on. In May of 2023, you also issued subpoenas for toll records of 9 U.S. senators and an additional representative. Is that right?
In May of 23, we did issue...
You did, and there were non-disclosure orders in conjunction with those subpoenas as well, right?
That's correct, consistent with department policy and the law.
So again, nobody would know what you were doing. The senators would, and the representatives would, and the American people wouldn't know what you were doing. Is that right?
The toll records that we secured and the non-disclosure orders were consistent with policy and...
And you knew whenever you were doing that there was a risk you were violating the speech or debate clause. Is that right?
The toll record subpoenas that we secured were with the concurrence of the public integrity.
Your own analysis says that you knew there was a risk you were violating the speech or debate clause. I have it right here. This is an email from John Keller at Public Integrity Section to your team. As you are aware, quote, as you are aware, there is some litigation risk regarding whether compelled disclosure of toll records of a member's legislative calls violates the speech or debate clause in the DC Circuit. That's from your own analysis right there. So you did know, didn't you?
Sir, with respect to the item you just put up on the screen, the last sentence states...
we're going to get to the last sentence.
Okay.
We're going to get to the last sentence. And you cite case law in here, quote, the bar on compelled disclosure is absolute. Is that right? Or do you think that you didn't have to abide by that precedent?
To be clear, this statement is not from my office. This is the statement of public integrity.
This is your justification for those subpoenas and NDOs that you ordered. This was part of your analysis. It's a cursory analysis. I think it's worth noting. But let's get to that last sentence then. Quote, given my understanding of the low likelihood that any of the members listed below would be charged, the litigation risk should be minimal here. In other words, you're using a novel legal theory, which you knew was novel, has never been tested by any court. You're not charging any of these members. Nobody's going to know about it because you issued NDOs. Nobody's going to sue this, so who cares? We're going to do it anyways. I mean, you walked all over the Constitution throughout this entire process.
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman's time has expired.
On members of Congress, and you know it. It's absolutely disgraceful.
Is it
I yield back.
Gentlemen,
Jamie Raskin, oh my God, his time's expired. His time's expired. Jamie Raskin is a fraud. But you get these guys that think that they're above the law. When the Democrats break the law, they say, oh, it's different. But as long as there's a D there, it's different. Well, it's not. So Jack Smith has a lot to answer for, even still, about his weaponization and what he did. And there should be some criminal charges there. But it's always because the Democrats broke the law when they went after Trump. And it's all over the place. Breaking the law here, breaking the law here. And that's why none of their cases stick, because they broke the law to get a lot of this stuff. But I digress. Now, Nick Shirley testifies in front of Congress about all the fraud in Minnesota. This is what Tim Walz and the people holding office in Minnesota, this is what they're trying to cover up right now by causing riots and everything like that in the streets. But this is Nick Shirley testifying in front of Congress. Check this one out.
Mr. Shirley, you're recognized for your opening statement.
Awesome. I'm here today to speak on behalf of all hardworking, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens here inside of the United States. I've helped bring to light widespread fraud that's happening inside our nation, and we the people have had enough of our hard-earned money going towards fraudsters as if it's no big deal. As I speak here, I want to ask everyone a question. How much do we trust when we pay our taxes it's going to benefit our nation? People erupted during the Boston Tea Party over just a few percentages as they believed they were being taxed without representation. Nowadays, we have the representation, but do we trust our representatives? My name is Nick Shirley, and I made a 41-minute video that I posted on platforms like X and YouTube. My video received over 100 million views, and it created instant change within our government. As the federal government launched investigations in departments such as Health and Human Services froze over $185 million in childcare funding until businesses can prove they are legitimate businesses. I actually became aware of the fraud that was happening in Minnesota in June of 2025 as I was there for a separate video, and Minnesotans started reaching out to me asking me if I was making a video on the fraud. I said, well, what fraud? And this lady, she was a real estate agent, and she says, well, I'm having a hard time selling my properties because people are curious about these assisted livings that are popping up next door to some of the houses that we're buying or the home health care clinics that are popping up, and we don't know who's next to these houses that we're trying to sell. And I said, well, I'm not going to come and make a video if I don't have any proof. So therefore, I left Minnesota, and I continued to look for fraud in the best way I could. And as I was getting my own information, a man by the name of David reached out to me, and he said, hey, I have been investigating this fraud for years now. I have been driving by these child care centers. I've never seen a single child, and I have received the information from the state of Minnesota as to how much money these places are receiving. I said, great, let me come to Minnesota and we'll make this video about potential fraud that was taking place inside of Minnesota. We go to a daycare, and I'm instantly surprised by what we see. We arrived, and it was an industrialized building, and there was 2 daycares registered at that daycare, at that building. And the first thing I noticed is all the windows are blacked out, and there's no footprints in the snow of any children. There's no playgrounds or anything that would make it look like it's a child care. But above me, a sign read, open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. But there was nobody there. The doorbell did not even work. And then we continued to go to other daycares, and we noticed the same pattern. No children, blacked out windows, and one daycare, a learning center, spelled Quality Learning Center instead of Quality Learning Center. They had received $1.9 million, yet with that $1.9 million, they could not even spell Leering right on their sign. Governor Walz has said he's been fighting fraud in Minnesota since 2019 and said the buck stops with him. However, how long would it take for you to notice $1 million leaving your bank account and not knowing where it's going? That's essentially what had been happening in Minnesota for years, as billions of dollars has been misplaced. And meanwhile, while people like Governor Tim Walz call people like me a white supremacist, delusional conspiracy theorist, he actually decided to drop out of re-election because I believe of how deep and extensive this fraud is. Thank you very much. Since my reporting, the HHS department froze over $185 million, and to this day, not a single business has been able to prove proof of legitimacy. How fast would you be proving that you are a legitimate business if you have children to actually feed and to take care of? You'd be sending in that paperwork instantly. I made this video to document the widespread fraud that has been taking place, as I truly believe all fraud is bad. And people like me, my generation, we're sick of seeing tax dollars go towards fraud. We just want to have the same opportunities that our fathers and our grandparents had. And when you see people making millions of dollars by committing fraud, it upsets everybody from all age demographics. And so I hope today we can have a good conversation, and I think we can all agree that fraud is bad, and that fraud is fraud. And I wish the best for our country, and I think that's what needs to be happening, is to crack down on all forms of fraud. So thank you for having me, and God bless the USA.
God bless the USA. So that is what Tim Walz and all the higher ups are trying to cover up with all this ICE shooting this, ICE shooting that, and all the riots and everything. They're trying to cover up the fraud because they know they're caught. There's investigations into every single one of them now. Now, to go back to the ICE thing. ICE is getting attacked everywhere. But check this one out. This one is ICE getting attacked in a Mexican restaurant.
Get out of my restaurant, monsters! Don't enjoy our food and culture while you harass my staff! my customers, and this neighborhood, cabrones! You heard me! Get out! Unbelievable! You see this? Get out of my restaurant, monsters! Don't enjoy our food and culture while you harass my staff, my customers, and this neighborhood, cabrones!
Like, what is going on with these people? Like, hey, we're just trying to give you money. So I digress. ICE protesters, these anti-ICE pieces of shit, decided to storm a church last weekend. Check this out. This is disgusting. These people are just disgusting creatures. But this is one of those guys.
I went into a church with Nakima Armstrong and I protested these white supremacists. A pastor of the church is a fucking ICE leader in the city. How can you be a fucking pastor and be a fucking ICE agent? Fuck them. They want to come after me? Fuck them. How can they live so comfortably while the fucking people from Somalia that are in this country legally, that have fucking citizenship, can't even go to their mosque and pray? How do they deserve any fucking different? Fuck those fucking Nazis.
Because it's
Come
only
and get me,
Christians.
Pam Bondi, you fucking traitorous bitch. All power to the people. Yesterday, I went...
Well, since then, that piece of shit has been charged. He's been charged with a lot of things, but now they're getting charged. Check this one out. This is
Nakima Armstrong for our protest on Sunday. You know, my lawyers tell me they have no fucking case. This use of the FACE Act and the KKK Act is complete bullshit. But let's be honest, they don't fucking care. They don't believe in the rule of law. They're fascists. They're now going after fucking the Clintons for the Epstein files? What the fuck? God damn it, people. When will you stop fucking acting like everything's normal and going about your fucking days? Get in the fucking streets now. It's time to shut this country down. We are at fascism. The republic has fucking fallen. Please, Americans, please stand up for something. Do not be the same as those in 1930s Germany. Because right now, that's exactly what you're all fucking doing. Please wake the fuck up. They've just arrested...
So I'm going to say it again. The eyes. Look at this fucking guy. Look at those eyes, man. He ain't right. Like, we know that. Like, these people are fucking fucked up in the head and everything. So these protesters just decide to storm the church, and Don Lemon just decides to go in there with them. Look at this shit. This is crazy too. He just decides to walk on in there with them.
Getting the operation together again. This is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out. Can't tell you what is going to happen, but you're going to watch it live unfold here on the Don Lemon Show. There are for this reason it may look like MAGA coded, but there's a reason they have so many white people here. I'm just going to be honest. It's because of the operation that they're doing today. It's important to have allies, as they said, white allies here.
What are they talking about, man?
That is what I can say. I turned the camera off of them because they're giving some critical information here. But there we go. Everybody's ready to go. Thank you guys for allowing me to be here. Thank you guys. How are you? Good to see you. We're on. We're not saying what it is, what's going on, but thank you. Tell us why you're doing this.
So
this is Nakima Levy Armstrong. She's on the show
Nakima
on Friday.
Levy Armstrong, civil rights attorney, longtime activist here in the community. And, you know, we protest and do activism in all kinds of ways. This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there. And then we disrupt business as usual.
So you can see the protesters here have gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church. In the beginning of the church service, the pastor was speaking, and Nakima stood up and said her piece, and then the protesters surrounded her. But this is a clandestine mission I think they found out according to them, this is according to Operation Pull Up, that one of the pastors here is a member of ICE. And so, here we go.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
This is not freedom of speech.
That's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though. Do you think Jesus would be understanding and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually...
2 hours later.
I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it.
That's it. That's it, he says. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all he did. And then to say, oh, it's just a First Amendment thing, to storm a fucking church. Well, and this might overlap a little bit here. This is Don Lemon's response to the whole thing. Oh, yeah, we just saw this one. Never mind. But look at this.
Guys are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this assistant attorney general, I don't know, gosh, what's her name? Something Hammett, Goen, or whatever. So I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it. It's called journalism. First Amendment, all that stuff. For all of you people who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist, there you go. So why don't you talk to the actual person who is in charge of the organization
First Amendment.
And whose idea it was to have the protests at the church before you start blaming me for stuff for which you have no idea. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
I mean, he's just such a smug piece of shit. When you started walking towards the church, Don, did you not think, you know what, this probably isn't a good idea? But the fact of the matter is that he keeps talking about First Amendment, First Amendment, First Amendment. Guess what, dude? First Amendment does not apply there. It does not apply to interrupting a place of worship on Sunday. And then you get these people in there that probably thought they were going in there to shoot them up or something, because they just walk in and start screaming about their fucking political bullshit. People are freaked out. They're like, whoa, what the fuck is this? And Don Lemon should face charges for that. But here's a cop in New York City yelling at ICE. This is what our friends at ICE have to deal with. These fucking losers. Look at these.
You don't roll up here snatching people off corners like it's some backwoods county. This is Brooklyn. You can play those games in other states, but not here. Not on my... What did I tell you? You don't roll up here snatching people off corners like it's some backwoods county. This is Brooklyn.
And it's like, well, you're going to lose your job. And not only are you going to lose your job, sir, you're probably going to do some time. If you're interrupting a federal agent and you're a local and state guy, stay in your fucking lane. Again, mind your own damn business. It is not your place. It is not appropriate. But it is fantastic to see that the president has the backs of law enforcement still. And he breaks down exactly what went down there. And he actually did the press briefing on Friday.
Vicious,
many of them murderers. These are all out of Minnesota, just Minnesota. I say, why don't you talk about that more? Because people don't know. Do you want to live with these people? International murder. These are people that are living, they're apprehended and either put in jails in their country from where they came, and the countries respect us, and so they actually put them there. In the old days, they didn't respect our country. Biden wouldn't do this because he let them all in. You know, if you didn't have open border policies of Biden, none of this, all of the time that we spend talking about Minnesota and everything else, most of them are coming from out of the country. And it's been caused by a previous administration. Look at this, one after one. Boy, these are rough characters. These are all criminal, illegal aliens that, in many cases, they're murderers, they're drug lords, drug dealers, they're the mentally insane. There's some of them who are brutal killers, they're mentally insane. They're killers, but they're insane. These are just in Minnesota, California. It's worse. In other states, it's worse. No, Minnesota, the crime is incredible. The financial crimes are incredible. And the problem is because of the agitators and insurrectionists, whatever you want, trouble.
So the president did the press briefing, and that's what he did. He broke down, he said, here's all the criminals that ICE is removing. Now, there's a lot going on in Iran too right now. So Elon Musk, of course, brought in Starlink so that our freedom fighters in Iran can get... Oh, and that video's gone. Never mind. Moving on. Back to ICE. So here's liberals protesting ICE with a song. And anytime they sing, it's always brutal. So I apologize ahead of time. But here you go.
We won't stop fighting. We won't stop fighting. Till ICE is gone. Till ICE is gone.
Target says that their mission is to support the joy of everyday life for all families. Then do it.
Do it now.
Justice over profit.
Justice over profit. People over.
Justice over profits, they say. These people are wild. So this is Democrat Rep. Dan Goldman on ICE. Check this one out. As we go, they just keep saying crazier shit.
The reality is Donald Trump is president for the next 3 years. And we cannot allow this at ICE agency to continue doing what it is doing. And so we actually have a lot more pressing concerns than to figure out exactly how we're going to reconstitute our immigration enforcement, because what needs to stop is what you're seeing there in Minneapolis. And what needs to stop is agents, literally masked agents, stopping people on the street and demanding their papers. That was what Nazi Germany did. That is so authoritarian and un-American, and it's just the tip of the iceberg because, of course, we know about all the violence. The reality is Donald Trump is...
These people just keep saying this shit. Like, tell me they don't want violence. That's almost what it's starting to look like. But you got these people that storm the church, right? And I've seen these activists before, but here's this guy again. This guy was around quite a bit. Look at this. This was them storming the church again. Renee! But they're shouting justice for Renee Good and all of that. I mean, how obnoxious is that? Storming a church. And this is the guy, this is the activist that I was saying that I always thought looks familiar. I've seen him at tons of other stuff. But look at this guy. Watch this guy here. If this is even that.
Gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church. They found out according to them, that one of the pastors here is a member of ICE. And so, here we go.
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps.
Hey, you can't.
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity?
See the protesters here have gathered over here.
So that guy, though, I've seen him at other protests. That Brian Kelly. But check this out. But Don Lemon is at these fucking protests. And look at this. He completely gaslights this. And we'll talk about this. And I've already shown you this probably. But check this out. Check this out.
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here.
So, like, I have a theory that people like that have only ever been in abusive relationships. And I say this because, like, it's gaslighting to the max, okay? Don Lemon is constantly up on this guy holding his microphone in his face and then goes, I'm trying to be respectful. Don't push me. But you're the one pushing. Like, that's what I think pisses me off the most about this.
And you're just bombing.
But look at this. Watch this.
Here. Okay. That's why we're here. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
love?
And then this piece of shit tries to give this pastor a lecture on Jesus.
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I ask that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to
chronicle what happened? Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why.
I mean, they don't get it. Like, if they think that's going to help them win an election or something, they're nuts and they're stupid. But yeah, Maine is also having an issue. Check this out. So they have decided that they're not going to issue license plates for them anymore. Watch this.
Vehicles is hitting pause on issuing new confidential license plates to federal agencies. According to Secretary of State Shanna Bellows, the BMV recently received a request from U.S. Customs and Border Protection for undercover Maine plates. That request comes as rumors swirl about possible ICE activity in Maine and amid concerns about federal law enforcement activity in other states. Bellows says the state has not revoked any plates already in use, but has paused new ones until officials can be assured Maine plates won't be used for what she calls lawless purposes. Maine's Bureau of Motor Vehicles.
Lawless purposes. This is what they're saying about what ICE is doing, taking pedophiles and rapists and violent people off the streets. But then you have, this is a woman that was raised in Dearborn talking about how it's changed, and not in a good way. Listen
White woman's testimony, who grew up near Dearborn, Michigan, who testifies that her and her white friends cannot walk down the street now in Dearborn without being spit on by Muslims.
So, coming from somebody who was raised right outside of Dearborn, spent a lot of time in that city, I will tell you that what you are hearing is absolutely true. Now, there's two parts of Dearborn, the east side and the west side. The west side is about 50% Christian, 50% Muslim. The east side is about 90% Muslim, if not more. The east side is where you hear that mayor saying that he's putting that street up named after a T organization or somebody that was a T. Yes, that is the east side by Warren Avenue. So as a woman that grew up 10 minutes from Dearborn and spent the majority of my time in that area growing up, I will tell you that a woman cannot walk down the street in East Dearborn and not get harassed in some way or even spit on. I've seen friends of mine get spit on for not covering their hair and their face. You will not pass a building that is not written in Arabic. You cannot read anything. It's like being in a third world country. Now, I know that there'll be pushback on this video and people will say, that's not true. American women can walk down the street in Dearborn. Well, I'm telling you right now that it is absolutely true. And I have several times walked down the street in Dearborn and been harassed. My friends have been spit on.
Isn't that wild, though? That this woman says that it's changed so much that she doesn't even feel safe walking down. Get these people out of the country. Here is an ICE supporter that is being attacked by angry leftists. Check this out. But this is what conservatives This is what conservatives in the United States are facing with these mob-like liberals.
He needs mental health. Mental health. The bleeding is natural from Nazi ears, but he needs mental health.
Wow, damn.
Get on block. Where you going? Get off block. Came here to hold the lamps, right? Come hold the lamps. He said, put their head right. Stop shit. Stop recording. Don't record no more. Stop. I gotta get off block. Brother, huh? Don't worry. Who's going on? Get off block. Get off block. This is Daddy right here. Where are you going? Hey, look! You don't come to Minneapolis anymore!
Christian conservatives.
Yeah,
They just do this. Constantly harassed. Just because you want Israelis pedophile criminals out of the country. They just keep attacking this guy. But we're going to move on because we don't have a whole lot of time and we got a lot more covered. But this is ICE arresting somebody. Check this one out here. Oh yeah, they tell him.
We're here to arrest a child sex offender, and you guys are out here honking.
Oh, we're not. No, we're pressed. We're not.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane. That's what we're doing.
So I love that because it put these people in their place. Like, this is what you're protecting. Is that really what you want? You really want the child sex offender to stay here? So this is John Fetterman. I'm not going to go into the whole Greenland thing. We've been spewing for an hour. This one's funny, though. Joe Biden, an old video of Joe Biden blaming Elton John for AIDS. Check this out, dude. This is funnier than hell.
It's all his fault that we're spending $6 billion in taxpayer money this month to help fight HIV/AIDS. By the way, it's all...
Whoops. Those were funny. So this is LGBTQ crew being friendly to everybody. That is my note on this one. Check this out.
LGBTQ. These are radical Christians in there that are housing neo-Nazis. Right, but you're defending. God, you're so fucking stupid. They don't push gays off the top. Are you kidding? Shut the fuck up, you bigot. Shut the fuck up. You don't want to learn. He needs to learn how to communicate like you do. Shame. Oh, are you gonna threaten me? Did you misgender her? Did you misgender her? Apparently.
I give the guy credit. That is really funny. And I digress. I'm going to leave you. Well, no, I'm going to just touch on this one here. This one here is Joy Reid on CNN saying Donald Trump did not have the right to bomb Iran's nuclear sites. Check this one out. This is what they say. And it's just stupid to hear these people say it.
I find it rather extraordinary that we are very casually having a conversation about the tactical success or failure of dropping a 3,000-pound bomb or two on a sovereign country that did not attack us. We are failing to unpack or even address, as we're discussing whether or not it was effective how we bombed Iran, whether Donald Trump was correct in saying we obliterated their facilities, and not asking why on earth is the United States bombing a country that did not attack us? What on earth are we doing there at all? And why is it that there is this arrogance in the West and in the United States to say that we get to decide who can have nuclear energy? We get to decide that, and not just decide it, we get to act on it and drop bombs on a country that didn't attack us. We had no business dropping bombs on Iran. And so the question of whether the tactic worked or not, to me, ignores the fundamental moral question at hand. And I think that I'm not alone probably among Americans who are saying that this was something that we had absolutely no right to do.
And some people just should not have an opinion. And she's one of them. Because I've never seen a woman have worse takes. I've never seen anybody have worse takes than Joy Reid. I mean, everything she says, she's on the wrong side of history at every turn. And everything's about race, and this and that. She's obnoxious. But AI is starting to get a little crazy, but it does put out some pretty funny things. Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. This one's AI, but still funny nonetheless. doing its thing. Check this.
What we're saying is that we want representation, okay? If Republicans are going to have beautiful girls with perfect titties in their ads, we want ads for Democrats too, you know? We want ugly, fat bitches wearing pink wigs and long-ass fake nails being loud and twerking on top of a cop car at a Waffle House because they didn't get extra ketchup, you know? Just because we're the party of ugly people doesn't mean we can't be featured in ads, okay? And I know most of us are too fat to wear jeans or too ugly to go outside, but we want representation. Look, all we're saying is that
They want representation, people. They want representation. That's all I got for this week. We'll be back to our regular schedule next week, Saturday, 11 a.m. Thank you so much for listening. God bless the USA. God bless every single one of you. Keep the faith.